Imagine managing permissions for hundreds of users one by one. It would take forever and create security nightmares. In enterprise environments, proper user organization in Active Directory isn't optional, it's essential. Today we're breaking down the 3 pillars of AD management that every IT professional needs to master. Welcome back to N7 Tips. In this episode, we're diving deep into Active Directory user management. We'll explore how to create and organize users, build groups for efficient permission delegation, and structure your domain with organizational units. By the end, you'll understand the architecture that powers enterprise IT infrastructure. Let's get started. First, let's understand what an Active Directory user is. A user account in Active Directory represents either a person in your organization or a service that needs to access resources. When you create a user account, you're creating an object in the Active Directory database with specific attributes. These attributes include the username, which is technically called the SAM account name, the user's email address, phone number, full name, and department information. There are 3 main types of accounts you'll work with. Domain users are standard accounts for employees. Local users exist only on individual computers. And service accounts are special accounts that applications and services use to run in the background. Understanding this distinction is crucial because each type has different permission levels and use cases. Creating users is one of the first tasks you'll perform as an AD administrator. Open the Active Directory Users and Computers console from your domain controller or administrative workstation. Navigate to the organizational unit where you want the user created. Right-click and select New User. You'll be prompted for the first and last name, which populate the display name. Most importantly, enter the user logon name, which is what users will type to sign into the network. This should follow a consistent naming convention, like first name, last name. After that, set a temporary password. Best practice here is to require the user to change the password on first logon. This ensures only they know their password and maintains security. You can also configure additional account options like whether the account should be enabled immediately or set to expire after a certain period. Groups are where Active Directory becomes powerful. Instead of assigning permissions to individual users, you assign permissions to groups and add users as members. This scales beautifully. If you need to add someone to 20 shared resources, you add them to one group. There are 3 group scopes to understand. Domain local scope groups are used to assign permissions to resources within your domain. Global scope groups contain members from a single domain and can be used in other domains. These are your primary group type. Universal scope groups can contain members from any domain in the forest, but use these sparingly because they replicate across all domain controllers in the forest. Beyond scope, you also choose the group type. Security groups control access to resources and receive permissions. Distribution groups are for email distribution lists only. In most cases, you'll be creating security groups. The naming convention matters here too. Use something like GRP department function to make it immediately obvious what the group is for. Organizational units, or OUs, are the containers within Active Directory that hold users, computers, groups, and other objects. Think of them like folders in a filing system. The real power of OUs comes in 2 areas. They allow you to apply group policy at different levels of your domain, and they allow you to delegate administrative responsibilities to different people. There are multiple ways to structure your OUs, and there's no single correct way. It depends on your organization. Some companies organize by department, creating separate OUs for sales, marketing, IT, and finance. Others organize by function, creating OUs for users, computers, groups, and service accounts. Many larger organizations use a hybrid approach, combining geography with department. A common structure might be by office location as the top level, then by department within each location. The critical point is planning your OU structure before you start creating it. Restructuring later becomes painful because you have to move objects and reapply policies. Take time up front to think about how your organization works and how group policies will be applied differently to different groups. Let's create an OU structure step by step. In Active Directory Users and Computers, right-click on your domain name and select New Organizational Unit. Give it a clear name, something like Sales or IT Services. Avoid special characters, stick to alphanumeric characters and hyphens. Once you've created your top-level OUs, you can create sub-OUs within them. For example, create a user's OU, then within that, create department OUs. Now start populating them. You can drag and drop user objects from the default users container into your new OUs, or you can create new users directly within the OU. Here's where OUs become valuable for delegation. Right-click any OU and select Delegate Control. This wizard allows you to give specific administrators permission to manage users, reset passwords, or manage group membership within that OU only. So your sales department manager could manage sales users, while IT staff manages IT users, without giving anyone control over the entire directory. This is how large organizations scale administration across multiple teams. Let's address 3 common issues you'll encounter. First, users say they can't change their password. Check if the account is locked or expired in the user properties. Next, verify the password policy isn't configured to never expire. If needed, reset the password yourself from Active Directory users and computers, right-click the user and select Reset Password. Second issue, a user is added to a group, but the permissions aren't working. This almost always means the user is still logged in with cached credentials. They need to sign out completely and log back in. Group membership changes don't apply to active sessions. Third, you create a group policy in an OU, but computers aren't applying it. First, verify group policy inheritance isn't blocked on that OU. Then, on the affected computer, open PowerShell and run the group policy update command to force an immediate refresh. Give it a moment to process, then check if the policy applied. These 3 scenarios cover the majority of issues you'll troubleshoot with users, groups, and OUs. AUs. You've just mastered the foundational concepts of Active Directory user management. You understand how to create user accounts with proper attributes, how to build groups that scale permission management, and how to design organizational unit structures that support your business. These concepts are the bedrock of everything else in Active Directory. In the next episode, we're diving into group policy objects, GPOs, which is where you'll actually apply these users, groups, and OUs to enforce configuration and security policies across your entire organization. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to N7 Tips for more detailed IT tutorials. Drop a comment below telling us what Active Directory topic you'd like to explore next. And if you have questions about users, groups, or OUs, reach out to us at shishvan.gt@gmail.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.